You are listening to Radio Maria Canada, a Catholic voice wherever you are. We now present the program Beyond the Pages with our host, Christina Doyle.
Speak to me, call me from the darkness. Just one word can break my heart. Will what breaks yours? Speak to me, call me from the darkness. Just one word can break my heart. Will what breaks yours?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Pages. I'm your host, Christina Doyle. It is so wonderful to have you today. We have such a special treat for you. We have this beautiful book that I'm going to share with you pretty soon called The Miraculous Medal. If you haven't seen this book, well, today you're in for a special surprise. We have the author, Christine Watkins, all the way from California, and we're so blessed to have her. Christine, let me just give you a little bit of background on Christine. She has written 9 books, and there's plenty of miracles that are attributed to Jesus' mother here. There's miracles of healing, of conversions, and it's a book that really, brothers and sisters, let me tell you, this book needs to be in every church, every school. Everyone should have this book. If you have any faith in your God, this is the book you need. So I'm telling you that this has been a blessing, and we are truly honored and blessed to have Christine Watkins here with us this afternoon. Of course, it's 2 o'clock your time, Christine, and it's 5 o'clock my time. So we're very happy to have you here, my dear. Congratulate you first. I want to congratulate you, Christine, on such an inspiring, extensive book about the Miraculous Medal. Our Blessed Mother, Christine, is hard at work.
She absolutely is. I was not expecting to write this, and as I started to realize that there wasn't something out there that was like a Bible for the Miraculous Medal, that there was so much to it historically and currently that wasn't captured in one place ever. And I thought that that was a shame because people know about the Miraculous Medal, but they don't know the Miraculous Medal. You know, it's the
Right.
difference between knowing about Jesus. He was some guy who lived a long time ago. People believe in him versus knowing Jesus. And
That's right.
so the goal of this book is so that people know the Miraculous Medal. And it is miraculous. It's not just a name. It truly is. And it's become a resurgence. Mary took this and started running with it. So the book started to become a bestseller everywhere. And then we hand out the medals are for free, and people just pay for the cord for the medal and a flyer, or they just get the medals in bulk, and they're already blessed because there's no charge for the actual medals. And these evangelization packets I'm holding up that have a flyer that show you where this comes from. Otherwise, you're getting a little pendant and you think, oh, what's this little, nickel thing that comes from a gumball machine? That means nothing to me. And I didn't like handing them out that way. So she is clearly, these started to explode. Everybody wants a book. Everybody wants a medal. And she's doing a resurgence. She's doing a renewal. And I guess perhaps I'm imagining because of the times we're in, the lack of faith in the miraculous and the lack of trust in God. And we need her. And she's ready to intervene. She can't wait to give us graces. She can't wait.
I couldn't, I haven't, I couldn't put the book down to tell you the truth. It was just from the beginning to the incredible conversions and healings. And by placing the medal on somebody's wound, whether it was on their eye or whether it was on their leg or wherever it may be on the body, that there was healing. And it was through the faith and trust in God, of course, that's most important. But the novena that you provide in the back of the book, a couple of different versions that really help the person who buys this book, who gets a hold of the medal, make sure you get it blessed by your parish priest, right? But if you get it through, it's through Queen of Peace, right? Media.
Right. www.queenofpeacemedia.com. And then the book you can get on Amazon.com and
Right.
order it through stores.
It's spectacular. One thing, Christine, we as Catholics rarely do give our testimonies. It's so different compared to the evangelical religions. But this book is jam-packed with testimonies, actual documented, approved by the church, documented testimonies of unbelievable miracles. Could you possibly share some of that? Or maybe we should first mention about the actual medal first, maybe, because there are medals out there that are not the miraculous medals. So I want to make sure that our listeners, our audience realizes what the actual miraculous medal should have on it.
Well, the medal was given by Mary to St. Catherine Laboure in 1830, and she was a novice sister. She was, I think, 24 years old when she was 11 p.m. at night. She was asleep, and this is in Paris on the Rue de Bac. That's the name of the street. That's why it's so famous, that name. Now, the miracles and the apparitions of Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal are associated with Rue de Bac. Rue is street. And so she did this interesting thing that same evening, the mistress of novices gave all of the novices a gift of a piece of the surplice, which is the white garment over a priestly robe or an acolyte's robe and this particular one was worn by St. Vincent de Paul, which is the patron of her order, which is the Sisters or the Daughters of Charity. And so she had this surplice, and she did what any normal person would do. She ripped it in half and swallowed one of the half pieces. So
Oh,
this is a second-class relic that she just put down her throat. And she did that with this extraordinary faith. She had obviously already a sense that was so strong and such a strong desire that she would see the Blessed Mother that night. Isn't that interesting? So that piece of swallowing the surplice was to petition St. Vincent de Paul to grant her that grace. Backtracking a bit, when she was only 9, her mother died, and she grabbed a statue of the Virgin Mary and said, "Now you have to be my mom." And she was in tears. So she'd had this devotion to the Blessed Mother her whole life. And so that night, 11 p.m., she's awoken by a little 4 or 5-year-old boy radiating light. And he says, "The Blessed Mother is here to see you." And so she gets up and she's worried, meant in her mind, she's thinking, "Oh no, I'll wake everyone up." The little boy reads her thoughts and says, "Don't worry, everyone's already asleep." He said, "Follow me." So they start walking down the hallway into the chapel, and the lights are on. And she said and that they approached a door to the chapel, and the little boy didn't even touch the door, and it opened.
oh.
So she's marveling all of these things and how the boy is glowing. And she is in the chapel. There's a chair where the father director sits, and she hears this rustling coming from the side, like the rustling of silk cloth. And this rustling moment comes in, and then the little boy's voice doesn't sound like a little boy anymore. It sounds like an authoritative man. And it says, "Here's the Blessed Mother." And even with that, she thinks it's Saint Anne, because the woman who appears with the rustling is Mary, who looks like a picture of Saint Anne on the wall.
Oh my goodness.
And then the moment she realizes it's a Mother of God, somehow from a few feet back, she's immediately on her knees, putting her hands on the Blessed Mother's lap and staring into her face.
Wow.
So she has this mystical moment that's so beautiful. She said it was the most incredible few minutes of her life. I think it ended up being she got back into bed and the angel escorted her back after the visit at 2 p.m. So that's 3 hours that she was there.
My goodness.
And the Blessed Mother says that you will be given a great gift. You will be contradicted. Here's how to handle your suffering. Many graces will be given in this place, and some prophecies of what would come very soon and in the years to come in France, all of which came true. And so she ends up having two more apparitions of the Blessed Mother. The Blessed Mother also tells her something that extraordinary that's not really known about St. Catherine Laboure. I had to study her life a lot, but there's just one little sentence in there where St. Catherine Laboure wrote that Mary said to her, "And you will hear me in your prayers going forward, like the rest of your life." So she was a locutionist. So she heard Mary speak to her the rest of her life, which is
My
very
goodness.
interesting, no? So she appears one more time, and it's the famous apparition where she's holding a globe and she has rings on her fingers with gems. And the gems are, and she also is standing on another globe. And the globe disappears, and these rays pour out from the gems on her rings, and they are showering the earth. But some of the gems are darkened and don't
Oh,
have any rays pouring forth from them. And what she explains in this vision and through her words is that where the graces are flowing from the gems is where people on earth are asking for her prayers.
oh,
And that's why they come. It's because they are asked for in all these different continents, and France was highlighted on the globe beneath her feet, was asking for her graces, and that's where they would flow. And then the darkened places was where no one was asking.
oh. Were
So it
there
was,
many of those, Christine?
I
Were there
don't, it
many?
doesn't say how many were
Doesn't
darkened
say.
and how many were, but the
Hmm.
brilliance of the light of the graces was overwhelming. And she also said that those who wear the medal will receive graces. And in particular, if they wear it around their neck, yes, I will put it on because I know you'll get comments of, wait, she's talking about it, but not wearing one. Um, those who wear it around their neck and wear it with confidence will receive great graces, abundant graces. So there's a special grace that comes with the medal being around the neck. And then she said, please have a medal struck in this image, and this oval appeared around her with the words, "O Mary conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee." And then the medal turned around, and there were two hearts, one representing Jesus, one Mary, and an M and a cross and 12 stars. So, most all of the medals are just fine. You'll be fine if you order them from a Catholic place. And so I do recommend you not just go on any, don't necessarily go to China. I don't know too much. I probably shouldn't speak to these false medals because I've honestly never seen one or been troubled by it. Um, because honestly, with any object, right? If a priest blesses it, is it going to
Right.
harm you? I really don't think so.
No.
I really don't think so. I think it's good
Mhm.
to buy from Catholic sources, and I think you can
Exactly.
trust them. I don't see why a Catholic source would
No, that's right.
be a
And
roundabout Freemason
that's the key.
hub.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. Make sure it's from a Catholic
Make
source.
it works from a Catholic source and don't worry.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
don't have this be this big worry fest of, do I have the right medal?
Yeah.
Instead, trust in the medal, trust in the blessing, trust
Mhm.
that everything's going to be okay. Trust that good is so much more powerful than any little tricks of the evil one.
Now, Christine, I mean, the book is it's so involved. It's such an amazing book. What, why do you think Mother Mary placed this on your heart to write this book? What would be the reason? Like, when did you decide that, or what, did something happen? Was there a conversion in your life? Was there a miracle? What triggered this book? for you?
Well, I started to get feedback of the miracles once the book was out, and I can tell you one of those if you'd like.
Oh,
But I
yes.
was in a prayer group, and they were devotees of the Miraculous Medal, and they were very serious about it. In fact, a couple of people from the prayer group are in the book. And one of them has made it her mission to go into adoration chapels, leave medals, to stand outside of churches and just start passing them out for free. These beautiful, beautiful people have made it their own personal mission to get as many medals into as many hands as possible. And this is really easy to do. People like receiving a miraculous medal as a gift. And they like it even better if there's a cord around it, because then they don't have to search, like me. Where's my stuff? I don't know where a chain is. So it's so nice to receive something that you can just give to your kid or whatnot, and to hear the story. And when you give a medal to someone, you can say the story very quickly. Our Blessed Lady, the Mother of God, appeared to a saint, Saint Catherine Laboure, in 1830, and gave this medal to humanity as protection, and you don't want to say the word conversion, because people who aren't converted, like I wasn't, don't think they need to be. That's not how a non-converted person thinks. They like the word transformation. You can say transformation, and everybody loves the word healing. Everybody wants healing.
Yeah.
Everybody wants protection. Everybody wants transformation. It's rare that you'll find a person who don't want one or all of those three things. And literally, you can say it got the name miraculous because for over 200 years since then, wrong math, for almost 200 years since then, miracles have happened to those who wear it, and wear it with even a tiny bit of faith, that you will be protected from things you never even knew could come at you. You may have already been protected if you're wearing it from things that could have hurt you or hurt your loved
So,
ones who are wearing it. We don't even know
no,
how much Our Lady and God have already done for us.
that's right. That's right. Christine, I have one particular story I wanted you to share with, but it's in regards to the one of the young boy who became a priest, and he was in the hospital or something. I think you
Well,
were
I was
talking.
wondering which one you meant, and I was thinking of the one who became a priest is Father Ronan Murphy.
Yes,
Tell that one. He
yes. Could
never
you
ended
please
up in the
share?
hospital, but there is a little boy who was on a respirator, and he was going to die. It was a horrible, horrible scene, and the father didn't quite believe. And it was Father John Hardin, who's become very famous since then. He wrote the whole catechism, and he didn't want to have anything to do with the medal, but he was desperate. And he said, well, where's that medal thing? And I got this pamphlet about it. And he's kind of, you know, thinking, wow, this is crazy, but I'll try it. And a nun got a blue ribbon so he could put the medal around the boy's neck. The boy is unconscious. He's almost brain dead. He's on a respirator, can't breathe by himself. And he puts the medal around the little boy's neck, says these investiture prayers, which are in the back of the book. And the book, again, is called The Miraculous Medal, Pendant of Power. And boy, is it a pendant of power, because he put it around the boy's neck and the boy recovered completely. So this shook
Praise
Father John's
God.
faith. It shook
Yeah.
his faith, and he realized that all these promises are true. This is not a namby-pamby Catholic superstitious old-fashioned thing. This is alive and powerful and happening today. The miracles are happening today. So I'll say one that's rather recent. So Father Ronan Murphy, he was in his 20s in Dublin, Ireland. He's Irish, and he is worldly, and he went to Catholic school but didn't care much about it. And he's walking down the street in the break from his American Express job, and there's a Carmelite chapel on the right, and there's a jewelry store on the left across the street. And a force just stops him in front of the chapel and turns his body to look at the jewelry store. And in front, he sees this medal, all the other jewelry on the counter in the window display disappear, and the miraculous medal looms large. He doesn't know what it is, but he knows from his background in Catholic school that because it's Mary, it's holy. So he says, holy. And he walks in, and as soon as he walks in, all the other jewelry appears along with the medal. But he's been alerted to that one, so he buys it, and he has enough wherewithal to go back across the street to the Carmelite chapel, has it blessed, puts it on. Remember, the graces flow especially strongly when it's on. He doesn't know any of this. These are just the promises associated with it. He receives an infusion of grace of desire to know the Blessed Mother.
Oh,
And so he wants to know everything about the Blessed Mother all of a
my
sudden.
goodness.
That leads to him kneeling before a statue of her. That leads to him consecrating his life to her, not really knowing what that means, getting a
Oh my
scapular,
goodness.
going to confession, starts to go to Mass every day. That leads to eventually becoming a seminarian. So he's not allowed in seminary to wear his priestly clothes. So he's just in lay clothes. And he gets a message in prayer after going to Mass in Dublin one day as he's leaving that he should turn back around, go into the chapel, and do an hour of adoration. As he's walking back, a missionary of charity stops him and says, "Are you a priest?" No way of knowing, right?
Yeah,
Says, "Are
yeah.
you a priest?" And he says, "No, but I'd like to be one someday." And then she says, "Would you like to see Mother Teresa?" And he says, "Of course." And she says, "Well, if you're get your clerics on," because she learned he was a seminarian, "and meet us here." So he goes to this place where 800 to 1,000 other people also are there, priests, bishops, you name it,
For
to see
sure.
Mother Teresa. So he wants to meet her in person, and he, is one of the many people. She shakes his hand very quickly, and she starts to talk, and she starts to speak about the gospel passages. And he can't even see her at this point because she's about half his height. She said she was just God, as he described her, but tiny. And so he can't see her at all. There's this circle around her, layers thick of people. And he thinks, well, thank you, God, for this opportunity. I would have liked the chance to meet a saint, but I appreciate being here, Lord. And she starts to walk out. At that moment, the talk stops. You can't hear Mother Teresa say a word. And you hear this rustle bustle, and she starts bursting through the crowd, through all the people, right toward him. But she
Oh my
couldn't have
God.
seen him, and he couldn't see her. Somehow she knew he was leaving. And she bursts through the crowd, takes his hand, and says, "I will pray that you be a holy priest."
Oh my goodness.
And he says, and then he ends up telling her that he's part of the Marian movement of priests. And she says, "Well, give me their names, the sisters, and I will pray for all of them." And he said, "Well, there's about 120,000 of them, and they're priests and bishops. I can't." She goes, "Well, I'll have my sisters pray for them." She said, "I will especially pray for you to be
Wow.
a holy priest." And then she takes a medal and she
Oh
puts
my
a medal
goodness.
in his hand and walks away. And so, there he has this beautiful story, and now he's exactly what she prayed for. He's a holy priest, and that miraculous medal has paved its way toward that. And so that's just one story, and the miracles of healing, protection, and conversion, and just astonishing graces keep happening. I'm getting emails about them from reading the book and wearing the medal.
You get emails today from
Yeah,
from
yeah. So it's encouraging because it's not like that happened. 1987 was when he first had that experience. Is
Christine, would
2000, is this
oh
year
sorry.
so much different from 1987?
Yes, absolutely. Christine, would you say that those who wear the miraculous medal in order to receive healing, to receive a transformation, are people with faith, or is it just that someone's given them the miraculous medal and said it's been blessed and here you are, and I know you're not well. Do you think there's an element that's very important in order for the miraculous medal to do its work, to do its through the Blessed Mother to do that? Because
I think
I'm
there's
sure,
yeah. I think there's a wide spectrum of belief, and it ranges from near nothing to ultimate faith. And what's very interesting is, yes, of course, the more faith you have, the more you draw graces from heaven, period, in anything.
right,
But,
but
but Our Lady, I mean, aren't we desperate to help save our loved ones? We
absolutely,
desperate at times. I think God's the same way, and Mary's the same way. Give me something. Give me this much. Give me
yeah,
a thread, and
right,
I'll take it. You know,
exactly,
and maybe you were talking about, because Maximilian Kolbe said, sew it in your kids' clothes, like hide it so they don't even know it's there. So how much faith is that? You got Saint
exactly,
Maximilian Kolbe saying, stick it, stick it around. Mother Teresa
exactly.
would throw it and stick it in places. And so perhaps that's the faith of the person handing the medal, is maybe what the Lord, grabs onto, as well as the fact that wherever the medal is, that is blessed, the Blessed Mother is. Let us not forget this. That's why it's powerful. It's not because it's a piece of metal.
That's right.
It's because it's a sacramental of the church. And when something is blessed and made holy, and especially if it's a cross, if you wear a cross or a crucifix and it's blessed, it's Jesus that is there. If a demon's around you, he doesn't see the cross, he sees the Lord.
That's
So if you
right.
wear the miraculous medal, the demons, the ugliness around you sees Mary. So that in itself, right, brings the power. But the added faith um, definitely helps.
Mm,
So, you have people who don't really think much of it, who also receive incredible graces.
absolutely. There is a part in your book, and you have your book there, and it's on, I would say, a conversion, obviously,
I
but it's
hear, I hear, I hear some noise in the background. Do you hear it or no?
no,
Oh, that's so
no, we
funny.
don't.
Okay.
I don't hear any noise.
Okay, good. It was from my computer, and it just is a random video starting to play. So all taken care of, people. We're good to go. Sorry, I thought you were hearing it
That's
too.
okay. Don't be
So say that
sorry.
again, please.
So, so in your book, there's a big chapter dedicated, given to this miraculous, would you say, conversion of the man named Zachary King.
Yes.
And I, it was at times, it was, well, it was frightening, right?
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
very frightening. And to see how somebody so evil, so entrenched in the dark side, came out of that through the miraculous medal, through Mother Mary. And it just shows you that the power of the miraculous medal and your faith, how much it can reach into every aspect of your life and help you. Whether, as you say, it's a healing, whether it's a transformation, whether it's protection. There is something to be said. Did you want to make any comment regarding this particular gentleman?
Sure. And before I do, a thought came to mind, also answering your question about, can it really do something if you don't have the faith? A Jesuit priest in Germany was given the miraculous medal, thought nothing of it, and put it in his glove compartment. He was driving with a friend, drove across a bridge, fell off, rolled over several times, and the bystanders figured they were dead. I mean, there's no way this man survived. They had not a scratch on them, and the miraculous medals, the two that were in the glove compartment, one was each on each man's lap.
Oh my goodness.
So were they really praying about it? Were they thinking? They weren't even thinking that he didn't even remember they were there.
Yeah,
But no, but that's not what I recommend. Do wear it in faith. Keep it in
exactly.
faith, and do the novenas in the back of the book that add the power of prayer to it, especially, with
Yes.
your petition. But with Zachary King, once again, he's another example of, was he really asking for the miraculous medal to do something for him? Absolutely not. He hated the idea of it. But what he was asking for was, he was seeking truth. At that, he was an ex-high satanic wizard, which is a high evil magic, magic, which is real. And he was in this underbelly of the world, of what's going on now around the world, not just in our country. It's terrifying and horrifying and really sick to learn about, but necessary, because we let these things grow by not knowing about it, by remaining ignorant that such things are going on. So if you want to read his story and you're old enough, I encourage you to learn, because there's things we need to pray against and be aware of, especially regarding our children. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, he was pulled into a satanic cult at a young age that disguised itself as a, after school boys and girls club. And there were deacons from churches in there. The parents, who were very protective, thought, well, this place is trustworthy. Very tricky stuff, very tricky. And so he ends up just becoming, there's only 1 to 10 high wizards in all of the world at any given time. And these are the wizards who have the most power in their magic. And the most power that you get pertains to having blood on your hands in ritual abortions. So that says a bit about what he was involved in. And unfortunately, there's no abortion clinic, he says, from what he's learned, that is none that he knew of in all around the world, that doesn't have a Satanist on staff somewhere, from the doctor to the receptionist. Because why, if you're a Satanist and that's where you get your power, are you going to avoid those places? You're going to flock to it. And so it's very sad. And so this man is completely aware at this point that he does not want to be a part of this. He's tried to escape, which means he could be killed. He's disguising his name. He's fleeing, trying to flee to unknown places and be completely in disguise. Zachary King, to this day, isn't his real name. And he is working at a jewelry kiosk in a department store by this time in his life, and he's gotten married. And he kind of would like to join a church at this time, but he's not giving up on his old magic. In fact, that very morning that this incident happens that changes his life in the department store, he did a spell. Like he was very, very addicted to doing magic spells. He would always say the incantations, and that was just something that he was so attached to. So he's behind his desk, and a woman comes up and says, I'd like, gold such and such. He says, well, I think you'd like this piece. She says, I'll be back to get that. And he thought that there was something very honest in her voice. Usually people say, I'll come back to get that, means I ain't coming back. He knew she would. She comes back, she gets the jewelry item, and then she says, and I have something for you. And she holds up a medal and she says, and it's very powerful.
No, that's good.
Now that got him, because you
Yeah.
don't tell the high wizard that they've got something that's a little
Yeah,
piece of tin. And so he's mad and his pride rises up. He's like,
exactly.
this is powerful? You think this is powerful? And he's running this litany through his head of, I'm the manager here. You think you this, you think you that. I'm going to show you. And he takes it and he's ready. He's planning on slamming the medal down on the desk and telling her, this has got no power. I've got all the power, is kind of what he wants to say. He takes it. Suddenly he's in a dark void. The entire department store disappears. The floor underneath him disappears. He is, and he's thinking, wow, her magic's more powerful than mine. I can't just suddenly put someone in a dark void. And Mary appears to him. He says she saw the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. And he was given infused knowledge at that moment that she was the mother of God. And he said that language doesn't, he was raised a Baptist. He said the mother of God language, the blessed mother language, that doesn't even come into play. She's just Jesus's mom. She has no other role. She's definitely not the mother of God. And he says, we don't bless anything. There's no blessings given in a Baptist church. It's not, you don't bless an object, right? So it's all so foreign, but suddenly he knows it all. And she says, she speaks to him and turns him around, and he sees Jesus behind him, Jesus divine mercy, and all of his rays are flowing over him. And he knew that the Catholic Church was the one true church that Jesus established in that moment.
Yeah.
So all of that is because he picked up a medal. It's unbelievable. So
It
that's just
is.
a piece of his story. There's so much more.
Yeah, there is so much more. One that got me was, I'm sorry, but I kind of laughed because it was the guy with the bull, I think about the bull,
Oh,
um, where I guess the gentleman was in Africa.
so yes. So there's a Protestant gentleman. He went off to Mombasa, Africa, and he saw that his friend wore that metal thing that he always carried around with him, that round thing. So he said, "Can I have that round thing that you always carry around? Because in Africa, you never know what's going to happen. I don't know. Let me just have that round thing." So his friend gives him a bunch of medals. He ends up in Africa going on a buffalo hunt with natives. He hits a buffalo but doesn't kill it, and that's a mistake with your gun, because you want to shoot to kill, otherwise you just enrage them and they can charge you. Well, he ran out of bullets. The bull is charging on him, and he's like, this is it. This is the end of my life. I've got, raging bull. This is the real life one. He remembers and grabs the medal around his neck and holds it up, and the bull just stops.
Can
And he
you
can
imagine?
feel the bull's breath on his
Oh my
face
gosh.
and see the saliva and the drool, and is just in shock, and the bull turns and walks away. And then the
No, we would
natives are
recommend.
just saying, God, you've got your God is God, your God is God. And so they want the medals, and who knows what happened after
Yes.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just a great story. I mean, it's a real testimony, but it's just very encouraging. I think there's just so many. I mean, these are probably just a small sample, Christine. When you think
Yeah,
about, right?
yeah.
Like,
These
I
are
mean,
73 stories, but 73 of what,
yeah,
millions that we don't know of? Yeah.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. It's really well laid out. I really love the way it's been laid out. You go through the different servants, different deacons. You talk about that it's more than a medal. You talk
So we've
about
got lots of pictures for those of you who like
I
pictures.
love pictures,
Lots of pictures.
lots of
Mother
pictures.
Teresa, St. Maximin Kolbe, Alphonse
Yes,
Ratisbonne, and then modern day ones as we come into the present. And
yeah. You even have because I'm a Legionnaire, so
oh,
through the Legion of Mary. So you
Frank,
have
servant
Frank
of God,
Duff.
Frank Duff. Yes,
Yeah, I
most of the
thought that.
Legion of Mary members, I realized, didn't realize how important the medal was.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
we actually we're like a little Mother Teresa. We hand them out. Here is ours.
nice. Oh,
Oops, sorry, they're
nice.
upside down.
Okay, well,
But
you've
we
already
have
got
all
your
of them, and so
packet.
we
Good,
this is what we do, right? So
great.
we get them blessed, and then we hand them out,
Oh,
right?
good.
So that's
Yeah.
what we've been doing. But yeah, it was really interesting to see that even Frank Duff was included in your book, and so I mean that's where it all began when it
Because
comes
I
to
spoke with
a
Legion
blessed
of
mother.
Mary members in my area, and they didn't know that the miraculous medal was an important aspect of his spirituality, or the Legion.
Oh, is
So,
that right?
yeah, I'm hoping that that brings awareness to the Legion
Yeah,
of their history there.
because
Yeah.
because that's because it's one of our works of mercy that we do our corporal works that we go
Mm-hmm.
out and I mean we carry it with us wherever we go. I have it in my purse and we
Wonderful.
keep, so we're always handing out a miraculous medal to someone. So that's important for us. I just found your book it's so beautiful. It's so encouraging. I was going to share with you, my own husband has been struggling for months with his leg, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking months. And we've been putting the miraculous medal on his leg. He had a knee replacement, and then
Oh,
apparently they realigned the tibia. They shaved off some of the bone. Then he got COVID, and then after COVID, the tendon in the side of his leg contracted, where it's called tendonitis.
Oh,
It is to the point where he can't even walk. And
oh,
so I would ask, prayers for that. We've been
yes.
praying. We had the anointing of the sick,
Mm.
and then today the church phoned us and said for Holy Thursday, they want myself and my husband the Father will wash our feet as part of the Mass,
Oh,
for the when Jesus washed the disciples' feet. So it was such a huge blessing, and I just know that's another confirmation for me that Mother Mary is at work. He is going to be healed, and I truly believe that. And having your novenas at the back, so you've
mm.
got two versions. You have a traditional one, the perpetual novena, honor of Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal. Beautiful prayers, Christine. Absolutely so beautiful. So we've begun, we're going to begin that, but because sometimes even myself, I can find fault that, I thought maybe if it's a blessed miraculous medal, I'm just going to place it on his leg and pray that there'll be healing. But it's according to God's will, according to his
God's will and his
timing,
timing.
right?
Yeah. And it can't hurt to if your husband's willing. And some of the stories in the book, you'll see that there's a mother who taped it onto her boy's eyes
Yes,
and it's so many
yes.
different places. So literally that, and it's interesting you mentioned the leg because my brother-in-law had 3 different times he had to have his leg operated on, and it's been a real hardship too. And so I went in there and I taped a miraculous medal onto his leg, and he eventually did heal. And so you have this mother whose son's eye, among many other things, were hurting, and she would tape a medal to his face, and he ended up completely recovering. So if your husband doesn't mind it,
No,
just taping a medal to the leg and to give you more hope, or you probably have enough hope because you have so much faith. But my friend Janelle has a friend, Lauren, whose mother was dying in the hospital, an atheist, a smoker. She called her my teenage mom because she just wasn't interested in God, or and it was having panic attacks, 2 big clumps, seemingly benign on her lungs, but huge growths, emphysema, COPD.
oh my
Um,
goodness.
and she would get out of breath just brushing her hair. She was in such bad shape. And this was Christmas. This is only 3 months ago now. Was dying basically, and the daughter sensed, wait a minute, this is my last chance to try to save my mom. So she brought the book and she brought it into the hospital room, and she had a bunch of them, and she didn't know she was planning on giving it to everybody at Christmas. She didn't know she'd be giving it to everybody in the hospital. So she hands it out to her family. None of them are Catholic, and they're all just, it doesn't end up on a seat. They're all just kind of fiddling with it and looking at it. And she's just, what's going on? So they're doing this. And then, sorry,
It's so
her
funny,
step.
Christina.
Her stepfather ends up reading the book to the mom. And then the daughter says, I have something for you. She had a miraculous smile. She goes, is that one of those things in the book? She goes, yes. Would you like it? She said, yes. And she put it on. And her husband was reading her the stories. And she said, that story's like me. Maybe I'll be healed. She would not take the medal off. She started to get healed of everything one at a time. The panic attacks went away. She could breathe on her own. She stopped smoking. That doesn't
My
make any
goodness.
sense. She said, I'm never taking this thing off. They went to the doctor. The growths, one was completely gone and one had shrunk to almost invisibility. They couldn't explain it. And she said, Mom, why do you think all this is happening? You were going to die. You're gaining
Yeah,
weight. You're breathing normally. You can walk around. She goes, I know. I know it was the medal. And not the medal. It's Mary's prayers to God Almighty. God's the
it is.
healer. But
Yes, absolutely.
he uses what he chooses to use.
That's right. Christine, uh, I could talk to you for hours, to be honest. And I truly, truly, I'm so grateful that well, I don't know if I found it, but I will say that the good Lord led me to this beautiful book, The Miraculous Medal, Pendant of Power. I would encourage anyone who is listening today to go out and get a hold of this book. Unbelievable. Not only full of hope, full of inspiring stories, to a testimony to your faith and the power of the miraculous medal and the hope it brings and the healing that this world is so desperately hungry. It's so broken. We live in such a broken world that we need hope. And it isn't in a tranquilizer. It isn't in gambling. It isn't in drinking. It isn't into the next cigarette. It's this. This is what we all need. And the graces that are poured out from Blessed Mother are truly they're just like a waterfall of graces that just keep pouring out. And we just pray that the continued success of your book, Christine, goes throughout the world. And I'm sure it already has, because the book has been out for a while, and it's going strong. It's incredible. It's a beautiful book, and it's next to a sacramental. This should be right next to your bed. And when you're feeling not well and you're feeling a little down or you're feeling lost, sit down, do the novena, and read some of these and read these beautiful stories of protection, of healing, of deliverance. It will encourage you. It will give you the hope that you so desperately need. And there is hope. There is hope through the Blessed Mother's intercession. But everything that we get, we are to always thank her. Not long ago, someone said, this being Lent right now, that do we actually even apologize to our Blessed Mother for our sins that we did to her son to put him on the cross, that we haven't even maybe taken the time to even say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my sins. And that really hit me, because I thought, as a mother, especially when I do my rosary and I come to the um, where he's carrying the cross, and I can think of the stations of the cross, and when she's walking right near him and she's seeing him dragging the cross, it's just, I don't know, it just fills me with such pain and such sorrow that I'm at a loss for words. And usually when I do my rosary, I usually have a box of Kleenex right next to me. So the box of Kleenex is right next to my altar, because even if I'm sitting in church, and sometimes, I always carry Kleenex with me. I'm like the Kleenex. I'm sure that I'm their best customer. I have tons of Kleenex in every bag you can imagine, every pocket I own, because I truly believe that the Blessed Mother is working in our world. Like you said, Christine, your book is truly it's riveting. It says it's riveting. It is riveting. It's unbelievably so important for our listeners to get a hold of. Do get a hold of. Do yourselves a great favor for yourself. If you want to take care of yourself, you want to take care of your children, you have grandchildren, your daughter or son are working very far away, and you want them to be protected, get a hold of this book. You're not going to do yourself. You're not going to shortchange yourself. You're going to do your family a great deal of good. This is the book to get a hold of. It is truly, as it says here, it's a masterpiece. Christine, I'm so inspired by you. And as I said before, before the interview got on, that I was truly humbled and privileged to have you on board on Radio Maria and on this show called Beyond the Pages. And I pray that you continue being blessed, that Mother Mary guides you into your next novel, next story, next book, whatever your hands go into and whatever you decide to do, that you are truly blessed and inspired, and know that you have touched humanity. You've touched us all through your book. We are so blessed by you and by this amazing book. And there's more. Christine Watkins is not just one-time author. There are plenty more books in the back here that I would encourage all of you to get a hold of because it's just amazing books. The other one I was going to get a hold of, and I'll just plug it just quickly, The Warning. And that's also by Christine. And of course, we're just, as I say, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't even thank you enough, but it is the Miraculous Medal, a great weapon of protection. The rosary is right up there, and the Miraculous Medal. Wear it, get it for your children, put it in their little snowsuit jacket, sew it in there, put it in their mitten, and everyone, get a hold of the Miraculous Medal, get a hold of this book, and I'm telling you, you will be blessed, truly blessed. Christine, do you have any final comments that you would like to add before we close?
Well, that was also overwhelming. Thank you so much, Christina. And it's all the Blessed Mother. It's all God, and we thank them. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you about something so important. And Mary is doing a revival, and that means that she has plans for graces that she wants to give you if you're listening or watching right now, that she literally has you in mind. And that, as you know, Christina, when you do these wonderful shows, you do them because God has asked you to. And so if God's asked her to do this, if she asked me to be on the show, and if you're watching it right now, none of that's a mistake. So please take her gift to you into consideration because she's personally giving you a gift right now.
Yeah. Christine, one more question. Where do you go from here now? Are you working on another book?
I am. There's quite a few.
My goodness.
Pray for me.
We will.
There's a book on Marie Julie Jehani, the mystic. There's a book of children's stories of the saints, which is, I wanted to make it fun and entertaining and very educational at the same time. Not one of those books that the kids will go boring. And a book on herbs that heal. There's a Catholic tradition of healing through herbs, and that's very powerful. Then we consider it pagan, and the New Agers say it's theirs and it's ours. So I want to rewrite that history a little bit and give some remedies that our grandparents knew of, but we don't. And there's so much. There's other books as well, but I don't want to bore you. There's also a beautiful book by a bishop called The Door of Faith. I really recommend it. You want to evangelize? The Door of Faith by Bishop Jano Seke. That's queenofpeacemedia.com. All these books are available
and look for
there.
his interview here on Beyond the Pages.
Yay! He's so wonderful. He's so wonderful.
Oh, well, we are truly blessed by you today, Christine Watkins. Amazing writer, amazing, amazing person. And thank you for your blessings. Thank you for your beautiful book, The Miraculous Medal, Pendant of Power. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have felt inspired as I have. As soon as I got a hold of the book, as I said, it was so difficult to put it down. Every story just grips you and just makes you more and more. You just feel more closer to Mother Mary. You just want to know her more, and this is one beautiful way to do that. So thank you. And we know that whatever your hand is on you're writing, it will be a blessing. I know for everyone who receives it. God bless you, Christine Watkins, on your amazing book, and many blessings to you and your family. And may we be in touch again one day with the next book that you have to offer us.
Thank you so much, and prayers for your husband too. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. And everyone, thank you again for listening to Beyond the Pages. I'm your host, Christina Doyle. And please look for our website on radiomaria.ca. And of course, we hope to hear from our listeners. If you wish to leave us an email or a comment about our interviews, please do so at radiomaria.ca. You will find Beyond the Pages, and you can email us there. Thank you so much. You can even phone us at 416-245-7117. So please call us if you would like, and spread the word. Spread the word. The Miraculous Medal. Don't forget. All right. God bless, and thanks again.
Speak to me, call me from the darkness. Just one word can break my heart. Will Lord praise you? Speak to me, call me from the darkness. Just one word can break my heart. Will Lord praise you?
You have been listening to Beyond the Pages, hosted by Christina Doyle, here on Radio Maria Canada.